So let's pull this up. So we have the Idaho 4 updates. We're going to update everybody tonight. And here we go. So I want to first talk about my local Massachusetts peeps. Obviously, I've cultivated a huge relationship here in the state of Massachusetts through the Karen Read case, and I don't want everybody to worry. I am on Sunday. I used to do the LTL Super Sunday show on Sunday during the Karen Read trial, but I'm going to keep this theme going. And what I came up with is the Sunday 617. And that is going to be local Massachusetts cases. We still have Sandra Birchmore. We have Turtle Boy. We have the Enrique Delgado Garcia case. There's other cases that people want me to jump in here. Brian Walsh is coming up, and I plan on working on getting my press pass and getting into that court in October. So I'm going to hopefully make that happen. That's a case that we're going to follow here as well. And Sundays is going to be devoted right now to my local Massachusetts cases. So we will keep that theme going. And of course, there's still some Karen Read stuff to debrief, but I really want to start banging away at this case, and I need to get updated. So during the week, that's probably what we're going to see here. Maybe I turn another one of those shows into a local live stream, and we do like 50-50. But we're going to test this out, see how it works, and really get going. So I have some people, friends of mine, they're going to commit, going to do some guest spots on that channel. And if anybody wants to come in and we have something exciting, an expert, a lawyer, we'll pop them up on the local live stream, the Sunday 617, and we'll talk about those things. So I'm really excited about that show. We're going to launch it this Sunday, and have a few guests on the show that are lined up for that. And I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to really take off. So again, we'll just move forward here. So getting into my next slide, Brian Entin today reported that the judge has denied Bryan Kohberger's motion to delay the trial, and it's on for August 11. It is on for August 11. So we are a month and a half away to really dig in and get caught up here on the Bryan Kohberger case. And then this is going to be rolling like a freight train. I'm telling you, it's going to roll like a freight train in the algorithm on YouTube. And we're going to have a lot to go through. So again, thank you for being here. Make sure to smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel, and we'll move on. God, this feels weird. It's like starting over. I love it. I love the challenge. And it's like starting over. Okay. So before we get into the Bryan Kohberger case, I want to talk about the rules of my chat and the rules of my channel. Let's go through that. All right, we got some channel ground rules here. Okay, this coverage reflects my interpretation of the Idaho 4 case. That's what you come here for. That's what we're here for. You enjoy my take on it, and that's what we're going to stick to. So I just ask everybody, please be respectful in the chat at all times. I've cultivated a great audience here. I've cultivated great subscribers, followers, supporters. I want you to be respectful, okay? You can agree to disagree in the chat, but it's got to be respectful, all right? I don't follow. I'm going to be this is rule number 3. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't follow other creators. I don't watch their channels. So please avoid discussing who's doing a live right now, what they're talking about on their channel, or whatever theories they may have shared. Personally, I don't care. I'm interpreting here. And if it's someone that I want to reach out to and have a discussion with them on my channel, I will do that. I don't care if you say XYZ is live right now and they're saying this. I don't care. I don't care. And personally, I don't really watch a lot of other channels because I like to be authentic with the content that I create here on my channel. And that's why you guys come over and watch me. Okay. Number 4, I focus strictly on the evidence. And that's what I did in the Karen Read case. And guess what happened? We had a not guilty verdict. We had a victory in that case. And I plan on doing that with the Idaho 4 case. And then this is my shout out to my moderators. Number 5, if someone becomes disruptive, you can time them out. You have the power to do that. If they continue to be disruptive, I trust you enough that you can remove them. You will just get them out of the chat, and that's it. They're gone. I'd say at least 3 chances. By the 4th, if they're not getting it, sayonara. Have a good day. You're out. I trust you that you'll be able to do that. And then most importantly, given the situation that we're talking about here, we want to have some fun. We want to enjoy the conversation and enjoy the great content. So that is it. That is it. All right, moving along here from the ground rules. Let's get into the basics. Let's get into the very, very basics. Let me enlarge my screen here. So we are talking about the Idaho 4 student murder. So people might ask, like, what happened? How did this all start? So back on November 13th, 2022, 4 University of Idaho students were murdered in their off-campus home. The victims' names are Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xander Knodel, and Ethan Chapin. Bryan Kohberger, who is the accused murderer, is a 28-year-old criminology PhD student. He was arrested in December of 2022. He has pled not guilty to all charges at this point. All right. And here we go. We're going to get into the basic timeline, very basic timeline for everybody. And I just have to enlarge my screen because I'm on a small screen here, so bear with me. Okay, so basic timeline. Before the murders, August of 2022, Bryan Kohberger begins his PhD criminology studies at Washington State University. That nickname is WSU. It's about 10 miles from Moscow, Idaho, where the University of Idaho is. The fall of 2022, victims are attending the University of Idaho in Moscow. Kaylee has recently returned to visit after graduating. Excuse me 1 second. So we'll take you into November 13th. November 13th, 2022. The murders at 4 a.m. Authorities believe the stabbings occurred at 1122 King Road, an off-campus residence in Moscow. I got to get familiar with that word again. Oof. I'm lagging here. I got to catch up. I got to get back in the Idaho mode here. All right. So at 11:58 a.m., a 911 call is made reporting an unconscious person. Responding offers find 4 victims stabbed to death. 2 other roommates were present but unharmed. And there is a lot surrounding the particular situation with the 911 call. We're going to get back into all of that again. I just want to break it down by the basics tonight. All right, November through December 2022, the investigation. Police receive massive media attention. The public frustration grows over the lack of suspects. A white Hyundai Elantra becomes a key vehicle of interest, and that is Bryan Kohberger's white Hyundai Elantra. The FBI, the ISP, and Moscow PD continue to analyze phone records, surveillance, and DNA. And yes, Bryan Kohberger's DNA was found on a button knife sheath that was under 2 victims, Kaylee Gonsalves and Madison Mogan. And the said knife sheath was a K-bar knife sheath, and that believed to be the murder weapon, but the murder weapon has never been found. Never been found. Let's see. Sightings is checking in. Sighing at the sidebar said, "Oh, good. I've been eating, sleeping, breathing free Karen Reed, that I have no idea what's going on in this." Well, you're going to get the basic rundown tonight. That's what we're here to do. All right. Is everybody following me? Let me know if you're following me here in the chat. Let me know if you're following me here in the chat. Give me 1 second here. Again, very basics of the Bryan Kohberger Idaho murders tonight. All right, moving on to my next slide here. Let me increase my screen. Okay, so December 30th, 2022, the arrest of Bryan Kohberger. Kohberger was arrested at his parents' home in Pennsylvania after a cross-country surveillance. He was stopped twice. The police say that it didn't have anything to do with the potential Kohberger being a suspect, but I have my interpretation of that, and we'll get a little bit more into that as we get down the road. He was driving the white Hyundai Elantra. The DNA from the knife sheath at the scene reportedly matches his, and extradited to Idaho in early of January 2023. Now we have the timeline of January through May 2023, the legal developments. Kohberger charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary. Prosecutors announced intention to seek the death penalty. Investigative documents, phone records, and surveillance footage become to light, and gag orders issued on parties involved. That really locked the case down. That really locked the case down. We really had to scrum for information with Judge. Now it's on to a new judge. The trial has been moved to Boise, and Judge Hippler is basically starting to unseal a lot of information. And we've gotten a lot of tidbits and a lot of information and evidence that have come out since Hippler has taken over this case. I personally like Hippler. He's a it seems like a nonsense judge. He wants this trial to happen. It's been delayed for far too long, and we need to start getting justice for these families. So, all right, let's go back. Basic timeline here. Hope everybody's following along. Wow, this has been a while. Oh, let me go back here. I actually messed up. All right, so June 2023 to June 2024. I'm sorry, June 23 to 24, pretrial hearings and evidence. Defense raises issues about DNA evidence, cell tower pings, and alleged FBI involvement in the DNA matching. Questions raised about the FBI using genetic genealogy before a warrant. Defense suggests alternate suspects, but judge rules that there are not enough evidence for that strategy to continue. All right. So we have 2004 to 2025. This is pretty much the delays in trial prep. Trial was initially set for October of 23. Obviously now, Brian Entin did an update today, August 11th of this year. So a month and a half away will be the trial. Current status, as of June 25th, trial's not yet begun, obviously. August 11th, just like I said. Multiple motions going to change a venue, exclusion of evidence, etc. Kohberger maintains his not guilty plea, and then the public interest remains high with conspiracy theories and legal debates going on. All right, here we go. Current status, charges, 4 counts of murder, 1 burglary. The DNA has been found on the knife sheath at the scene. We have phone and car pings and surveillance put him at the crime scene, and we're getting more information that has been out there. There's said some more videos of the alleged vehicle in and around the area of that night. That's supposed to be Bryan Kohberger. Eyewitness roommate saw a man with bushy eyebrows as he entered the house. Yes, there were 2 surviving roommates in the house that night. 1 surviving roommate came within feet of Bryan Kohberger, or said to be Bryan Kohberger, during this attack. And she said that she saw the bushy eyebrows. There was a photo that was released not too long ago of a selfie that is said that Bryan Kohberger took this after, just hours later after the murders. And of course, you could see the very, very bushy eyebrows. And it was a really creepy selfie that he took. So new witness, a DoorDash driver, claims that she saw him nearby. And we know that Xana Kernodle ordered DoorDash that night. That was dropped off at 112 King Road. The trial start, jury selection, July 30th, begins on August 11th in Boise. Defense strategy, pushing alternative perpetrator theory. And then the witness list has dozens added from both Idaho and Pennsylvania. Let me look up in the chat. Hello, how are you? So the trial will start August 11th. And yes, I believe it's going to be a 1 single camera. It will be streamed. This case is going to be huge. Well, I knew we were going to bring them in. So Deanna says the pro Kohbergers need to chill. I knew this was going to bring a lot of this in because look, they've had I've been away from this for 2 years. So a lot of that has been cultivated through a lot of these live streams and chats because people have had time to kind of dig into a lot of these conspiracy theories. But again, I set the ground rules on this channel. I'm going to follow the facts. And I believe that a lot of the facts point and a lot of the evidence points to points to Bryan Kohberger. So, okay. Let's see. Let me move on here. Everybody following me, let me know. Very, very basics tonight. All right, here we go. So evidence linking Bryan Kohberger to the Idaho murders. The DNA evidence. Kohberger's DNA was found on a K-bar knife sheath recovered next to Madison Mogen's body. This is considered the strongest forensic link. DNA source. The DNA matched Kohberger through genealogy testing using his family's trash from Pennsylvania and confirmed via direct cheek swab after his arrest. We have cell phone data. Cell phone tower pings. Kohberger's phone pinged near the victim's house multiple times in the weeks before the murders, including indicating that he had been surveilling the area. Excuse me 1 second. I'm turning my air conditioner on. Let me get a sip of water here. We have phone activity the night of the murders. His phone was turned off or put into airplane mode during the key hours of the murders, 4 a.m. time frame, and turned back on shortly after he left the area, and that left a suspicious gap. Post-crime movement. Cell data shows him traveling to Pullman, Washington, to Moscow, Idaho area, and quickly leaving after the estimated time of the killings. We have the vehicle surveillance. A white Hyundai Elantra. Surveillance footage captured a white Hyundai Elantra circling the victim's home multiple times in the early morning of the murders, and there is video footage out there on my channel that you can watch of that white Hyundai Elantra circling 1122 King Road. We have the car ownership. Kohberger owns a white Hyundai Elantra matching the suspect's vehicle description. And we have the vehicle tracking. Traffic and campus cameras showed Kohberger's Elantra traveling from Pullman to Moscow and back around the same time of the crime. Eyewitness description. Surviving roommate statement. One surviving roommate, Dylan Mortensen, saw a man wearing a black mask like a balaclava, black clothing with bushy eyebrows, leaving the crime scene. She actually came in within feet of him inside the house. Eyebrow details. Kohberger facial features include bushy eyebrows matching the description. I'm going to pause here, take a look at the chat. Let's see. P says, I want to keep an open mind because we're all essentially the 13 jurors. The data in this case intrigues me. Well, that's great. A lot of people talking about the DoorDash driver. DoorDash driver saw Bryan and will identify him at trial. She will be a witness. There's been some controversy about that DoorDash driver. And we're gonna talk about that here at the end. Let's see. Wanda says, thank you for this review. I needed this reminder. Well, that's why we wanted to do an introductory stream back into the Idaho 4 case tonight. And I think we're going to be able to achieve that and break that down. A lot of people conversating in the chat about pings. I love it. I love this conversation. And then Bodega Lady said, this case haunted me from day one. Yes, it's a super haunting case. All right, let's move on here. Academic background. Kohberger was a criminologist PhD student studying criminal behavior at the Washington State University, located 10 miles from the crime scene. He had conducted a survey about criminal decision making that asked respondents to describe how they selected victims and committed crimes. All right, moving on. Other circumstantial evidence, body cam footage. Approximately, Kohberger was reported stopped for a minor traffic infraction within weeks of the murders near the crime scene. And then a new DoorDash witness emerging, a DoorDash driver now claims she saw Kohberger parked near the house at the time the food delivery minutes before the murders. This claim is still under scrutiny. Now let's get into the conspiracy theories. All right. So we have some of the conspiracy theories versus facts. Theory framed by others claim DNA planted, fact check, DNA on the sheath, the phone data, eyewitness, all match Kohberger. We have the DoorDash driver, wrong, misidentified. DUI at the time, but statement recorded voluntarily on a police cam. You have filed noise complaints, motive for the attack, no complaints traced to him. Others in the neighborhood filed them. We had a victim vigil. There was a claim that he had been attended a public event, reviewed footage. It wasn't Kohberger. And then multiple killers. The claim is he wasn't around. 3 unknown DNA samples found, but no other suspects named. So the thing that I have to say about the unknown DNA, and, we saw this in the Karen Reed case. If you followed me in the Karen Reed case, there was a lot of unknown DNA. And if they would have just taken the steps in further investigation, the way that I look at it is too, college house, a lot of people coming and going in that house. I think that's what's created a lot of this controversy as well. Like, why would it just be this guy? Why wouldn't it be someone that has known of that house or has been in that house? Why wouldn't it be someone that knows this? And again, we haven't gotten the entire connection as to what his connection is to that home and what that connection is to these victims. I'm sure it's going to all come out in trial. It will come out in trial. Again, when evidence is released or statements or things are put out there, you're only getting bits and pieces of the actual evidence unless you have someone like, Turtle Boy that ripped the Karen Reed case wide open, or, another investigative journalist that looks in and really starts digging these pieces out. And I have a lot of theories in this too, that other theories that we haven't heard about that I feel that will put Kohberger at that house. And I'm going to get into a lot of the stuff over the next couple of weeks and do a lot of review. And it's going to be interesting to go through this and break all of this down. So I am not a lawyer. All these opinions are my own. I took pre-law classes in college. I got through one semester and I'm like, the workload is way too much. way too much. Let's see. All right. So let's move on. Let's move on. Okay. So we have the alternate perpetrator claim. Let's break these down. So we have the defense argument. Someone else did it, possibly using 2 weapons, plus 2 attackers. Kohberger has coordination disorder, so he may not be able to be capable. And we heard a lot about this from Ann Taylor, saying that he had learning disabilities and this coordination disorder. I don't know. I don't know if I'm not buying. I don't know if I'm buying it. There's been a ton of delays in this case by her, and it's like, look, if you're, in my opinion, if you're innocent, then why not get this trial going and just go through it? There's delay after delay after delay, and it just seems a little bit weird and a little bit fishy, where there's going to be some things that I think may be hard to explain through common state, I'm thinking Commonwealth because of Massachusetts, state witnesses that are going to come forth, especially talking about cell phone pings, the DNA evidence. We now know that the K-Bar knife was purchased on Bryan Kohberger's Amazon account. They're claiming that it was by a family member. So there's a lot of stuff like that we need to get in and go back through. So it's gonna be exciting. I'm really looking forward to this. So cities unknown, cites unknown DNA samples at the crime scene, and then the defense claims tips linking other suspects, and the details are sealed on that. So of course that will come out in trial. So the court's response, or the state's response, must provide real specific suspects, not speculation. The hearing was held on June 18th to determine admissibility. No alternate suspects officially identified as of now. So again, this is just really a wide open case. It's wild. There are many, many theories, but again, I'm sticking to the evidence right now. That's what's leading me in this. And I'm open. I'll be open to any other interpretation or any other evidence that comes into this case, because I've been out of it for 2 years. And, my stance right now is the evidence is leading towards Bryan Kohberger, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. All right. So we have the witness 1, the DoorDash driver. Okay. Testimony claims she delivered food parking next to Kohberger at 4 a.m. She saw him near the crime scene shortly before the murders, first came forward on a DUI stop on a body cam footage and confessed that in 2024. Credibility factors. Testimony was unsolicited, was intoxicated. DUI cast doubt on the memory, and statements sealed under a court order. I want to look up here in the chat. We got Massacre in the chat. Good to see you, bro. Says guilty. Kohberger is guilty. Damn it. Oh, the chats are going to get fun. I love this. The chats are going to get fun. The chat's going to get fun. Kathy, thank you. She says, fantastic show. Lots of information. Thank you, Bryan, for covering this. I'm going to tell you, every single law tuber that you watch will jump on this case. I already saw Andrea Burkhart's going back to it. I love Andrea. I plan on reaching out to her and having her come over and have some conversations on the channel about this. I know Nan Gallagher, that's been a huge guest of my channel and supporter. She's going to jump on and ride this train with me as well, because she's been invested in the Idaho 4 case. That's actually how she found me. So we're gonna do a lot of live streams and talk about this. I'm sure Todd McGee will be able to get in, come up here on panel and talk about the police investigation. So we're gonna have a lot of guests, and I'm losing my voice. This happens to me like once every couple of months, but I'm losing my voice right now. So let's see. Let's see. Coffee Cake, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Says, as Mr. Foreman said, not guilty and proved otherwise, but there is a drive time done, a drive test done. I don't think there was one. I don't think there was one. All right. Thank you for the 10. I appreciate it. Let's see. Let's see. But thank you for the 10. I appreciate that. All right. Let's see. We will move on here. Give me 2 seconds. All right. Let me get my crawl running here. All right. Let's go into the next theory. All right. Witness number 2, surviving roommate, Dylan Mortensen. So key details: saw a man in black mask with bushy eyebrows. And as you can see in the Bryan Kohberger photo here, he does have very bushy eyebrows. Heard crying thuds, locked herself in her room. Her description led to partial match with Kohberger. Defense concerns was possibly intoxicated, described things she may not have directly seen, and claimed a victim might have exited alive, disputed by forensics. The judge's decision, her ID of the man's features is admissible, and the jury will assess credibility. All right, moving on here. Key dates. We had July 30th. It was the jury selection, and that's been moved, actually. That's going to be August 8th. I believe it starts jury selection. And then August 11th, the trial is going to begin in Boise. So the critical questions: will alternate suspect theories be allowed in court? How credible will the DoorDash and roommate witnesses appear? And how will jurors weigh forensic evidence versus defense theories? So keep these critical questions in mind. Keep these critical questions in mind. One more here. So the trial summary: we have Kohberger remains the sole defendant as of right now. We have DNA plus digital tracking and core to the prosecution. The defense is raising alternate suspect theories and witness doubt, and the trial will be the ultimate test of all theories and facts. I'm telling you, this is going to be the case to watch next. It is going to be big, and there's going to be tons of people that are going to watch this case live. I'm telling you, every law tuber that is on this, the lawyer you know, Emily D. Baker, Andrea Burkhart, and etc., is going to talk about and stream this case. And again, I wanted to refresh myself with this case and do a basic breakdown for you all tonight.